Welcome to the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. I'm Erwin Szeto, and you know I'm not AI because I can't talk right. 4-time Realtor of the Year, 20-plus year Ontario landlord, getting close to $500 million worth of transactions. Getting closer and closer because honestly, we have quite a few clients buying in the States. Proudly, among that $500 million worth of income property transactions, no new construction condos. My wife and I formerly held an 8-figure portfolio. Why formerly? Because I'm selling in Ontario. I'm selling our properties in Ontario to buy somewhere landlord friendly for value and positive cash flow. We're buying some other stuff as well, but we'll talk about that on another day. On this show, I bring you strategies, stories, and experts to help you build wealth, avoid costly mistakes, and reach financial freedom faster. In Canada, in the US, in Mexico, in Europe, in Southern America, and beyond. Let's get started. As promised last week, I'd have some developers on this show to explain specifically how they make profitable investments in real estate development. Meet Jimmy La and Kartik Singla from SDG Canada. They are a powerhouse duo, 2/3 of a powerhouse duo. David Knight unfortunately had to work and couldn't make it to this interview, but they are behind one of Ontario's most pragmatic infill development firms. With a shared passion for solving on Canada, specifically Ontario's housing crisis, Jimmy and Kartik are leading the charge in building sustainable, family-friendly rental housing through their missing middle developments. Kartik, a mechanical engineer by trade, by education, and formerly an HVAC entrepreneur, brings a deep technical expertise and a sharp eye for smart building design. You should see how pretty their stuff is. Jimmy, a 15-year seasoned real estate investor, is a connector and storyteller, driving SDG's community-first approach. Together, they've launched Clapperton Village. That's one of the projects they have going. And this one's just outside or just inside downtown Barrie, a modular, energy-efficient, multi-building rental community with over 100 units and growing. I think that's right. I may have gotten that wrong. Anyways, their work is powered by CMHC's MLI Select program, which is why they're here on the show. And CMHC is enabling affordable financing and long-term sustainable wealth. They're here to even answer my ignorant questions, and I hope it's helpful to all of you. With 9 projects underway and plans to scale to 150 units, SDG is reshaping how Canadians live, especially addressing an area that lacks in supply. Properties that are targeting multi-generational families and renters seeking quality space and community. They're also hosting the upcoming Missing Middle Conference on September 12th at the Fairmont Royal York Hotel. Hopefully everyone's familiar with the Fairmont Royal York Hotel in downtown Toronto. Featuring Mayor Olivia Chow of Toronto, featuring Mayor of Burlington, Marianne Reid, whatever. And also the mayor of, I believe, Newmarket, the mayor of Barrie. There's federal and provincial housing ministers, team members that will be attending. There'll be other top developers in the house, along with consultants and investors. And I would love to be there, but unfortunately, I'm golfing at Corey and Danielle's event. For anyone who's going to be there, reach out. Love to say hi. You could learn more about the event at the mmc.ca. The MMC, which is short for Missing Middle Conference.ca. Use the code MMC15% for 15% off. All the information's in the show notes and in my email newsletter. You can always get my email newsletter at www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca. Again, that's www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca for my newsletter, so you can remain informed on when these episodes are available and about any other events that we have going on. Speaking of events that we have going on, after you're done making your millions in real estate developments, come by the Wealth Summit 2025. We loved hosting the Wealth Hacker conferences featuring Grant Cardone in 2019, and then we had COVID, and then we had Jesse Itzler in 2022, and we're excited to bring the same energy and insights to this year's event. This year's event is where it's a little bit smaller. We don't have quite the same budget as we used to back then, but again, join us for a deep dive into the best practices of financial and estate planning. We're going to explore strategies to build or replace a pension and learn how to protect your wealth while minimizing your tax liabilities. Don't miss this opportunity to elevate your financial game and connect with like-minded individuals. We will see you at the Wealth Summit 2025 in our offices in Oakville, Ontario, September 27th. That will be in person and also available online. This is only Saturday morning, so everyone can handle 3 hours of their time. For those who are coming in person, thank you to our sponsor Share for sponsoring our lunch. Share, the easiest way to owning a fully managed portfolio in the USA, even if you're Canadian. Link to register is in the show notes and also in the newsletter. And if you are coming in person, we only have 40 seats available. And to be honest, talking to you, my 17 loyal listeners, we invited several thousand people more. So, links in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Gentlemen, what's keeping you busy these days?
Lots going on. We have our conference coming up in a week, which has a mayor's panel that we're very excited about. So there's going to be Olivia Chow, the mayor of Toronto, mayor of Burlington, mayor of Newmarket, Barrie, and a few other cities. We've also got the federal housing minister, um, um, her right hand, well, his right hand gal, and we also have the provincial housing minister's right hand guy, Graydon Smith, and we have titans in the private sector, construction industry side of things. So it's going to be a great conversation. It's like a good conversation with the public sector and the private sector. So it's been keeping us busy getting that stuff organized. It's happening at the Fairmont on September 12th from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. So it's a lot of work putting that together. We've got a great group of attendees. We've got a lot of LPs and all that stuff. I'm sure we're talking a bunch about that today. But yeah, it's a busy week for us.
For those interested, the mmc.ca, which is, I'm assuming, short for the Missing Middle Conference.ca.
That is right.
Yeah, I can't believe you get the mayor. And you said yeah, you get the city of. Wow. Okay, we'll get into it. I used to live in Burlington, so I've followed Mayor Ward's career for quite some time, and Rick Goldring's a friend of mine. So we've had some off the record conversations about development in Burlington. But let's start off with what is it you two do? What is sustainable? Why putting on the conference? What does SDG do?
Yeah, SDG Sustainable Development Group. There's three of us: Kartik, myself, and Dave Knight, and we all have a passion to add more units to the market. And what better way to do that is with infill developments. There's plenty of opportunity right now with the missing middle type of build, anywhere from 6 to 60 units. It's sort of like the missing middle. So we specialize anywhere from 8 to 12 units on a lot. So we get our minor variances done. We upzone it to the amount of units that we want, and we head into construction. And all of that is done with MLI Select, right? So CMHC MLI Select, and we found a nice niche that in a nice city that we're replicating and scaling the right way. We have 9 projects right now, about 100 units in the pipeline for the next couple of years. So a lot of moving parts. We have a great team that helps us do the right things. Very, very smart people on our team, including my partner, Kartik, who will tell you about himself and his background in the industry.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, thanks,
Kartik, go ahead.
Jimmy. Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. So my background is engineering. I went to University of Waterloo, did mechanical engineering, graduated, got funded by a company to start an HVAC company that I did for about 12 years. And 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 that was 2 years ago, approximately 2 years ago, that I sold my shares and got into development. And the reason why I got into development is because recognized that there's a massive housing crisis and essentially people need a place to live. And Jimmy and I, we used to work out together, used to talk about real estate all the time, and in our dreams and aspirations, doing something together in real estate kind of became our goal. And rest is history.
Well,
Yeah,
I imagine you give up a pretty good career. I have friends in the HVAC industry and home construction industry, and that's really lucrative stuff. Like, you must be really passionate about this stuff, this new stuff.
HVAC is, I was also very passionate about HVAC. So what I did is actually HVAC distribution, right? So we sold heat pumps in large commercial and condos. So I have relationships with many of the big developers. When I was leaving the industry, it was kind of in an interesting time, right? And actually, we're going to hopefully, we talk about that. So the transition between condos to rentals, right? So right around that time, a lot of my relationships were kind of experiencing the massive, uh, you know, uh, massive drop in condo sales, right? And a lot of these developers still haven't really pivoted to the rental model yet, right? Because the good ones, and you know who the good ones are, and we have close relationships with them, right? The good ones don't like to carry debt, right? And so this whole idea of carrying long-term debt, is not something that they're set up for, right? That's not These families haven't built that as a business model for themselves, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, you're right. I really enjoy development. Yes, I do. I really enjoyed HVAC as well. But it was the right place at the right time. I often tell people that the number one rule in business success, right? When you ask people, hey, what is the number one thing that is going to make a business successful, right? Often people are like the team, the leader, the product, and it's timing, right? And so we knew, like Jimmy and I knew that we were getting into it at the right time, or we had faith that we were getting into it at the right time, and here we are.
Yeah, fabulous. So, for context, it's September 5th we're recording this. And oh, sorry. And the date of your conference is
September
September the
12th.
12th.
September 12th. All right, we gotta rush this out. Right. And why is now the right time? Why is the right time for this? Like you mentioned, there's a bunch of inventory that's currently sitting unsold. There's even more being built. Daniel, I follow Daniel Foch. Like I believe he's one of your speakers as well. Uh, there's a record number of rentals coming on the market. Why is now the right time to be developing more rental units?
Jimmy, can I take this? Okay,
Yeah.
great. We also got to toss some questions to Jimmy as well. You keep asking these technical questions all for me.
Yeah.
So, so Okay, so you're absolutely right. There are a record number of rentals that are coming to market, okay, and there's a lot of unsold inventory, okay. So let's address the unsold inventory first. So the unsold inventory is actually units that have been taken off the market, right? Because you've listed them, and so now you're no longer renting them because you've listed them. Nobody's living in them, right? Many of the times, right? So there's actually an artificial decrease in those units. It's an interesting thing, and I'll kind of explain that hopefully towards the end. But it's not a significant factor. But specifically about the rental supply that we have coming up, it's actually a tale of two economies. You have the Canadian and the rest of the country economy. So Alberta, which is like skyrocketing in terms of development and the number of units that are coming to market, and Ontario is going completely the other way. Okay, so the projected number of completions, okay, so last year Ontario completed about 75,000 units, okay, out of the 120,000 goal that they had. And in that 120,000 goal, they actually it's kind of, hey, we achieved 75, a lot closer than we expected to be. Well, in that 75, they're actually counting student residents, like long-term care beds and all that stuff. So they're just doing everything they can to juice that number up. Okay. Not actually delivering a true rental product. And that number is going to be even lower this year. It's expected to be closer to 65. And if it was 125,000 units that needed to be built this year, that means you have to build 200,000 this year, right? Because you got to make up for that delta of last year and build it this year. And now you're building 65. So it's just that the problem keeps getting worse and worse and worse in Ontario. And so yes, right now you're seeing a short-term increase in supply. So I was actually talking to a guy from a pretty large private equity firm, and this is kind of what he does for a living. And so his meta-analysis is that for the next year, you're going to have the supply that was started in 2022, 2023 kind of come to market. So 2026-ish is where a lot of the supply in Ontario is coming online, right? The condos that started then, okay? But after 2023, the housing starts fell off a cliff. So there's not much that is going to be coming to market come 2027 and beyond. And it is a catastrophic problem because the immigration numbers, and some people are like, well, the immigration slowing down and international students are slowing down and all that stuff. Well, Canada is still accepting 400,000 immigrants. There's still 350,000 international students that come to Canada every year, and there's still 300,000 plus temporary foreign workers that come to Canada every year. And guess what? Where many of them go, they go to Ontario, right? So the problem is going to get really bad to a point where I think that we're going to see in 5 or 6 years, we may see like 50% increase in rent pricing from what they are today. I mean, they're already down 20, 30%. So 50, 60% doesn't sound like a lot probably, but we're going to see a significant increase because how, if you have, let's say, 300,000 people coming into Ontario and you're producing 65,000 units, right? Where are these people going to live? Like, and so what's going to happen is the rents are going to go up. So,
So on the street, what we're seeing a lot of is from applicants is it's a lot of large families, and by large families, it's often like two or three families really, like brother, sister, and bringing their spouses and their kids, and even usually even more, another sibling, a cousin, their spouse, their partner, their children, a grandparent in there as well. So, and then also just knowing that just put it out there, like a lot of our immigrants aren't coming from India. Multi-generational families is the cultural norm there. So I think that's one. That was probably one miss that was made with all these small condos that were being built when the demographic of the people coming to the country want, large spaces for large families.
Yeah, I want
oh
to
yeah.
jump in there because here's real life examples that are going around that is going on in Barrie right now. So
Mm-hmm.
we met with
Love
the
Barrie.
mayor.
So beautiful there, especially the waterfront.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're there. So about 6 months ago, we met with the mayor Barry, Alex, fine guy, fine gentleman, and he said, "Hey, so what's?" He said, "Hey, colleges and universities are coming. They're getting a new campus for Lakehead. They're expanding Georgian College, and that's coming to downtown Barrie. So a little bit north there in Barrie, they have the Georgian campus." And Alex says, "Hey, what you guys are doing with the missing middle is fantastic because I'm getting many, many reports that in the single family homes there, in the basements, 20 students are living in the basements. Think about that. They're just putting down the mattress, however they are. But you can just imagine how that scene would be, right? And that's per single family home. So the fact that we're coming in there and we're building more infill is very helpful right now, and they're encouraging it. That's one point. The second point is multi-generational living, family living is what we just talked about, right? Yes, it happens. And like it's my mom lives with me too, right? With my family. So I get it. And that's what's happening more and more and in what we're seeing. And also that's why we're building the types of the product we're building because they're 2, 3, 4 bedroom units so that you can accommodate your sister, your mother, and your own family as well, and be able to work from home. So that's what I wanted to add to what we just talked about because now's the best time to provide this type of solution because of the people that are coming.
Right. And you're providing a product that's really in short supply. Because again, I think for listeners' benefit, also just the public generally doesn't understand is that most of the condo pain is in the smaller units. My friends with one plus den, 2 bedroom and more, they rent instantly. Like there's like no delay, right? I rented out my townhouse in Etobicoke that has 4 bedrooms. First day I rented out, right? There is no pain in that category. And then you're trying to target this, you're trying to go after that area that has short supply. Now, can you talk to how can you make the numbers work? Because again, like developers, like for the last few years, they're building small units because my understanding is they felt the numbers work better. How are you able to make the numbers work on larger units?
Um, did, So the way the numbers work on larger units is really through the MLI Select program, right? So what the larger developers typically have done, all the, you know, this whole thing has been a bit of a Ponzi scheme. This whole multifamily development, and it has started with actually, frankly, the municipalities who have gouged. Okay. Development charges have risen like 10,000%, right? They used to be like 2 grand in early 2000s, right? Or late 90s. Now they're up to 50, 55, $60,000 a unit, right? And,
And even more
and
for a house, almost like double
it,
that for a house.
oh yeah, even more of that for a house. Yeah. Specifically multifamily. That's yeah. For a house, it's like 120, 180 grand in Vaughan and some of the other municipalities. Exactly. For an independent house. And and guess who pays that price is basically the person buying the home, right? Like it's built into their price. Uh, but so they were always building a condo product, whereas we are building a rental product. And government of Canada has realized that the problem is so bad that they have highly incentivized the CMHC to essentially provide very favorable financing terms to developers, right? And so that program is CMHC MLI Select, where if you can structure your deal the right way and you can find the right kind of property and you can get the right kind of rents, you're able to get 95% of the entire project cost covered by a loan insurance, CMHC insurance. Okay. And essentially what that means is a typical project size that we have in terms of our cost is $5 million, right? And so on a $5 million 10 unit apartment building, our equity requirement is only $250,000, right? And the value of that building in today's rents are worth 6.2 million bucks, right? And in that $5 million, we've also got a profit in various different ways and stuff like that where we collect our fees, so it's probably closer to 4.5, 4.4. Uh, so the business model is now there in the right markets. Toronto is a little bit more difficult because the acquisition cost of lots is a lot higher in Toronto. So what costs us 850 to $900,000 to buy in Barrie, actually even lower now, 800,000 to buy in Barrie, costs 1.6, $1.7 million in Toronto, right? Exactly. So, and then the rents are not double of Barrie. They're like, you know, 10, 15% higher than Barrie. You know what I mean? So the secondary markets are actually a great acquisition target for MLI Select. Whereas Toronto is still kind of struggling, right? And then, if any of your listeners are sort of into the commercial real estate side of things, they'll understand cap rates. Well, you've got better cap rates in Toronto, so you'll have high appreciation, right? So in Barrie, we're at 4.5 cap. In Toronto, you'd be like, high threes, fours, right? Um, 3.89, 3.75 in Toronto to 4. So you get appreciation, but secondary markets are a gold mine for MLI Select financing right now, and that's why you're seeing so much of this rental construction taking place.
Right. So the math works, it pencils out because even with pretty low cap rates, the math it pencils out because they're willing to lend so cheap and such a long amortization.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
And then what are you typically seeing for terms then
Uh, in
on the mortgage?
terms,
Yeah.
oh, on the mortgage side,
CMHC mortgage side, yeah.
yeah. We typically see so on the stabilized asset, it's 4% because it's tied to the bond yields. And then for construction, it's a little bit higher, closer to like 6.5.
Right.
So
But
basically,
still, it's pretty
prime.
cheap.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
It's,
not
yeah,
far from
yeah.
a home line of credit.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's actually it is still pretty cheap. Exactly. It's all relative, right? Um, yeah, so it's very favorable terms, which is enabling a lot of this construction. Now, there's a flip side to it, which we can kind of talk about, but which is a controversial take that I have, but we'll leave that for a little bit
Oh, I thought you already
later.
covered the controversial stuff on the development of Ponzi.
Oh, hey, the Ponzi starts with the municipalities. They're the ones who are enabling the freaking Ponzi. You know what
Yeah, but you invited them to your conference to speak.
I
Hopefully, you're
mean?
charging
Exactly.
them.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, hey, teach us your ways because we want to learn how to, Anyway, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just
Um,
just quick sidetrack for the listeners' benefit. No, more so my benefit. But again, I used to live in Burlington. The mayor that you have coming for Burlington is, in my observation, is possibly the most anti-development mayor I've ever seen. So it's really fascinating that you have her coming on. Like she literally blocked a project in South Burlington, and then the project died. All like the I don't know what's going to happen to that developer, but that development got canceled. It was a high-rise condominium, and because she put a moratorium on all new development, like that project had already sold, right? Had already done already had its done pre-sale. They had to cancel the project, return everyone's money. People were devastated, right? Anyways, so a quick sidetrack on that. We won't name names.
But
oh, you have.
I want to add to that too. And that's why we decided to get everybody in one room for the day. You know, the policymakers, the politicians, developers, consultants, investors, all in one room so that we can talk about this, right? There is a negative stigma. There have been developers that got their projects blocked, right, by certain mayors that will be there. So this is an opportunity for everybody to actually go there and have the right conversations and understand their side of the story too. There's two sides of every story. Us, obviously, as developers, we want to provide housing, we want to create jobs, we want to improve the community, right? And so do they. So do the mayors. So does the city. Now, but there is a big gap in between how one department talks to the other department, if they're ever even talking, right? There's miscommunication. There's a big gap. So that's why we want to have all levels of government in the same room with us so that we can have that type of conversation and hopefully reduce red tape so that they understand our point of view even more as a bigger unit, as a group, because we all want more housing, but why isn't it being built? So we need to figure that out, and that's why we're having everybody there.
Fascinating. So I have a clarifying question around the financing. So the financing works for you. How does it work for the next owner, the next buyer? And my understanding is, you tell me, because they're able to take on your financing.
Yeah, so after 5 years, after 5 years, you have to refinance, right? So you can either refinance into MLI Select again, or you could do whatever you want with it. So it's up to you at that point what you want to do, right? So if you want to sell it, you can, or if you want somebody else to come in and take over your financing, you can. You can actually even do that even like anywhere in between the 5 year period as well. But generally, like we're looking to kind of figure out our next move at the 5 year mark. But there are developers that will go in and they'll build it, right, with their balance sheet and their credit worthiness, and they'll have somebody else come in that kind of takes that over for the rest of the for the rest of the financing, um, and essentially they have to have better credit worthiness and have a better application than you do, right? And
Now,
CMHC will allow them to take it over.
now it certainly seems that the government is CMHC's intention is to continue with this program, because without CMHC MLI Select, I don't know how any of this development happens. so my thought would be they would continue to do this because it would be the smart thing to do, which is kind of a what is it? Government do smart things. We don't often say that too often. Is there any is there any sort of understanding? Will MLI Select still be available 5 years from now when when you do refinance?
Your grandfathered in is the understanding. I mean, they're not going to just, they're not, Desjardins or any of these banks are not going to take on a loan, right? Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that you're carrying the loan with, right? They're not going to take on a loan if they're not confident that this loan is going to be refinanced by the Canadian government, right? So the length of the loan is 50 years. So you have a 50-year mortgage insurance by CMHC. So if you're in the middle of a CMHC loan and the CMHC program goes away, you still have your grandfathered in, right?
Right. You still
The
have a
bigger
contract.
cons exactly, you still have a contract. Now the bigger question is
Oh, sorry.
what
Just
happened?
to dig into it. So you have a contract for the insurance for the whole 50 years?
Yes,
Ah, I see. I see. Right. And then it's just the underlying lender can be different.
correct,
But again, they'll be
correct,
inheriting an insured mortgage.
correct,
Ah, I see.
exactly.
I see. Right. And that's why your ideal term should continue.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you don't know what the interest rates are going to be in 5 years, right? But yes,
Right. But it will be better than market because you have an insured mortgage.
correct, 100%. And these insurance products are not tied to when when these guys, the Bank of Canada does the rate announcements, it's not really tied to the rate announcements, right? It's tied to the bond deals. So it's all about how the bond markets are doing, is how the rate gets calculated, because essentially it's the government of Canada that's borrowing money from their bonds, right? By bond sales, and they're putting a small spread on it, is essentially what they're giving you as a loan, right?
Yeah. And they can give a smaller spread because it's insured.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Fantastic. Yeah, because you guys are in this business. Would you be developing without CMHC MLI Select?
It all depends. Like, it's a very complicated question, because if there was no CMHC MLI Select, then there would be no housing starts, right? Um, we have very good relationships with a few lenders, right? CMLS being one of them, right? And we have folks that really senior levels that we talk to on a regular basis on our files and all that stuff, right? Some of these commercial lenders, large commercial lenders, that used to do massive office portfolio in terms of loan originations and mortgages for, right? Massive industrial portfolios, massive, you know, condos were a little bit different, right? Because it's just mostly private equity. And then, you're pre-selling. So it's a different type of a model. But these guys used to do these commercial deals, and 80% of their business, right, is now MLI Select. So pretty much like all of the commercial business that's happening in the Canadian market right now, or a big chunk of the commercial business that's happening in the Canadian market right now, is being supported by MLI Select. So your question, if MLI Select wasn't there, well, then we wouldn't have the housing starts, we wouldn't have the construction starts, and the economy would just teeter, right? You wouldn't have, construction is one of the largest employers and largest contributors to Canadian GDP. And then obviously, if you don't have units that you're bringing to market, then your rents are going to spike up, right? So I don't, it's very tough to make the numbers work without MLI Select. You need you need to mobilize the private lending markets to take on more risks with development, would be the only other way of doing it.
Just a quick history flashback. When I first got licensed, all my clients were doing 5% down on 40-year amortizations. Even with
That's
that 5% down, like again, the longer amortization improves your cash flow. So my clients were just eating it up. So like yeah, like I said before we're recording, single family cash flowed really easily with the 40-year amortization.
People bought homes with their credit cards, I heard back in the day.
Oh yeah, we were buying in Hamilton for like 130 grand in good areas. So I'm dating myself. This is back in like 2011.
Yeah, you were
Oh,
putting 6.5 grand down on a credit card and buying a property.
you could. Now
Yeah.
tell me more about your developments. You mentioned Barrie. Are you in any other cities? Because I think people need to understand is that where you invest needs to make sense because some places are more friendlier than others. Burlington having known for not so friendly. I imagine you're in Barrie for a reason.
Yeah, I can tell you a story. So, this was October 13th, 2023. I remember it's my sister's birthday. That's her plug. Um, we checked out three homes in Barrie. We started in Toronto, but we ended up in Barrie because of what Kartik mentioned earlier. The acquisition costs are much better in Barrie for the land size that you would get. So we were with our agent. We saw three homes. Every home we saw, first one was good, second one was better, third one was great. We walked to the backyard and say, "Wow, for 725K, we can get one third of an acre. Fantastic." So that was about 2 p.m. on a Friday, and we looked at our agent and we said, "Hey, wow, wow, what can we build here?" We had no idea. So we decided, why don't we just walk into City Hall? So we walked in there, and there was a planning wicket in the planning department. And basically, we met the planner of the day, the most friendliest and jolliest gentleman ever, and one of the smartest guys in that office. All of them are smart. And he said, "How can I help you?" So this is planning department, right? "How can I help you?" And we say, "Hey, we're thinking about buying a property. How many units can we put on there?" He said, "How many units do you want?" Kartik and I looked at each other and we're like, "Is this really happening? This is like Christmas." And we said, "Six, eight, I don't know." He said you could do more. So we said 10 because anything 10 and under, you avoid site plan approval, right? So you save almost a year and a half right off the bat. So we decided to go. We left. We were excited. We called our agent back. We put in an offer and we got it the next day. So that one property is the beginning of our Clapperton Village project right now because we have uh, nine on a couple of streets, all in the same area, walking distance upon one another. And how one turned into three was very quickly. A few months later, our next door neighbors invited us out for lunch. And we wanted to give them an update, but we knew we wanted their properties, but we did it indirectly. Very, very nice to them. Explained what was going on because they were curious. "Hey, there's going to be a bunch of construction now. What are you putting? You're putting rentals. What kind of bad tenants are moving in? You're going to devalue my neighborhood." Everything NIMBYs would say, right? But they were good because by the end of the 1 hour meeting, they said, "How would it look if we sold you our property?" Next thing you know, one turned into three a few months later, and we were able to negotiate favorable terms. And for us, favorable terms means longer closing, uh, the right amount of deposits, right? And they were living there while we were getting our permits. So they were carrying the mortgage, right? So that is one nugget that I can share with the listeners right now. So having that one out of our many nuggets allowed us to scale very quickly because next thing you know, we saw other projects 2 blocks away, did the same thing. And the neighbors wanted to sell, met other fellow developers that wanted to unload properties. And we built those right relationships. And then eventually on the first street, neighbors that were a year ago at that time fighting us and saying, "Hey, you know what? You're gonna put a huge apartment there. You're gonna block my son. Neighbors are gonna throw beer bottles off the balcony and hit my car. And you're gonna bring crime and you're gonna devalue my property." Well, guess what? She was the one who initiated all of that, and wrote a negative story on us. So she was the one, a negative story on us, rallied 170 people to sign a petition, and 70 people showed up on our committee of adjustments meeting, which we still won right after, by the way. So she was the one who didn't like it at all. They were calling us big bad developers from China. And right, we were just big bad developers in her eyes. But guess what? She sold us our house a year later. She across the street, she sold us our house a year later. We paid more than market price, and she was happy. And then at the end of the day, she shook our hands and said, "Hey, good luck." And that's how one turned into nine within a year and a half.
How much was it a ploy to get more money out of you? This is 145 Clapperton.
Yes, downtown Barrie. Yes. And just to add more to that project, it's the reason why we called it Clapperton Village, not only because one turned into nine projects and 100 units. They're all fantastic. This one is a 3-story, 10 unit walk up apartment. And again, not again, but I wanted to point out 10 to 15% of our units are actually considered affordable. So we really value our affordable units. They're going to be brand spanking new in these units, in these apartment buildings. And we want to have shared amenities like a dog park, EV chargers, shared working space, barbecue, kid zone, coffee shop, coffee cafe, and a gym, outdoor and indoor amenities where all the tenants can share the amenities and just really have that community feel, because we feel that it's so important. Just how we started the beginning of this podcast, multi-generational, or you're living with your family members, you work from home, you need that space in your community, and we're offering that at Clapperton Village. So I'm super excited, as you can hear with by the tone of my voice, and I know everybody else is excited about this project, because this is going to shape this is going to add so much value to the neighborhood that everybody is craving for, but they don't understand how important this is going to be for the community. And we're building it. We're very proud, and it's going to be great.
Oh, sorry, it's building stage right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's under construction right now. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Do you have
These
pictures on your Instagram by chance or anywhere else of the in progress pictures?
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, actually.
Where can I find
If
them?
if you go, you know what, you can go to our page, SDG Canada, sdg.canada. You can check us out there. Our personal pages, they're going to be there on IG as well. And we post daily updates on what's going on. For example, right now on our site, we're putting panels up, wood panels. Yeah, exactly. That story. This was 2 days ago. The first floor panels are coming in. The walls are here, putting it up. So every day we shoot a lot of content on site. So for the listeners out there, if you want to follow a very, very cool project and the beginning of a village, this is where it is. And Kartik can talk about Kartik's the engineer. Kartik is very passionate about smart buildings. So Kartik, do you want to talk about the sustainability part?
Yeah,
Sorry, selfish
sure.
question first. Is it all heat pumps? My furnace
Yeah,
is pretty old. So
yeah. It's all
I'm under
heat
pressure to
pumps.
replace it with a heat pump
Uh,
too.
all heat pumps, exactly. So it's actually modular construction, and so these panels were built off site. Modular construction actually has a lot of benefits. This is Kyle Ford. Look at that handsome guy.
Kyle's a friend. Yeah.
Nice. He's a lender on a number of our projects. Um,
Small world.
and he's a big believer of ours. Actually, we were on his podcast not too long ago. Yeah, so it's all modular construction. Things are built off site, assembled, you know, on site, and it is a very green way of building. Yeah, this is our Jennifer McKelvey is the federal housing minister's essentially deputy, right hand gal. Graydon Smith is the one above her is the provincial housing minister's right hand guy. And we have a number of mayors as well.
Sorry, before we move on from Jennifer, her boss was just
Yeah,
in the news, and he's reiterated like the focus will be on development,
absolutely.
and he's also said, I'm sure the people that voted for Liberal are happy that he said prices won't come down
Oh, really? I didn't care.
significantly.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think people are hoping that prices come down, but
I'm sure the entire young generation wants prices to come down.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, I think it is. I think there's got to be some kind of a give somewhere. We are seeing prices come down, right? Um, but that's a separate conversation.
Sorry, I interrupted. What were you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the build, how it's all modular.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I was talking about it being a modular build. So it is a modular build, and it is one of the most energy efficient buildings in the country, right? It's 45% above code. One of them. It's not passive house and all that stuff, but it's like kind of really close to the top in terms of energy efficiency side of things. And the 45% above code in NECB, 80+% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Most of our other buildings are actually net zero carbon. This building we had to put a gas boiler in for domestic hot water, and we're doing heating and cooling with heat pumps. The domestic hot water is just basically when you turn on your hot water tap, to give you that hot water. Um, and the amenities are absolutely incredible. So within this entire development, so it's not just one building. We have a collection of 9 buildings, 5 of them sort of right next to each other. There's another cluster of 3, and then one sort of off to the side. But then we're also starting to buy a few properties around there. So we think that probably the whole village is going to be about 15 buildings in total. So about 150 units that are going to come about in this village. And there are some amazing amenities that are in these buildings. So, one of the buildings has a hot tub, sauna. Another building has a sauna. So collectively, hot tub, sauna, gym, yoga studio, espresso bar, kids play area, co-working space. There's EV chargers. We say that like we've got this thing where it's purest air, cleanest air, purest water. So essentially, we're tracking VOCs, like actual contaminants in the air, to figure out how clean your air is through your vents, through your, and you can actually see the VOCs, and hopefully, we'll be able to give you the ability to track coronavirus, other, like viruses as well, to see if they're in the air as well, right? And also with the purest water, we're tracking microplastics. So you'll be able to see how many microplastics are in your water on the phone, so you know that you're getting the cleanest, purest water, right?
From your tap, not
From your tap.
from your tap. Okay.
Yeah, from your tap, exactly. And we're working with some very large companies, actually LG, to incorporate that technology into our buildings. They're actually a sponsor of our conference as well. And you know, uh, these are just some of the amenities, right? And like I could, kind of keep going on and on. There's barbecue areas. It's just the way, we've designed the whole urban design and the walkability and the affordability and all that stuff. There's just, it's really the whole development is centered around the idea that we want to promote conversation amongst neighbors, right? So create spaces outside of your home that people can gather in and have great experiences in and have great and share amazing memories in, with obviously their families and kids, with their families, but also their neighbors, you know?
And sorry, the current project's 9, and you're accumulating more properties in or adjacent or in the surrounding immediate area.
Immediate surrounding area.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's basically like I don't know if you've been to like these resorts kind of in Mexico where um where you have like one building and another building that you kind of take your golf cart to, and then you go to the next build. That's kind of what the concept is that there's
Right.
like a bunch of these built smaller boutique buildings that
Yeah.
people are going to be living in.
All right.
And
Yeah, it's basically
yeah.
like garden style multifamily.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I was just at the ZB in Ottawa. A friend of mine was a developer there, 34 acre. It's and they're on again it's 34 acres, so it's much larger scale, but the similar idea. Like they plan for communal areas um, for 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 lifestyle and whatnot. And they're 800 meters from Parliament Hill, so they have a beautiful view of the water and the government buildings. But I digress. Yeah.
Yeah. See, our buildings look a little bit differently than these ones. These are not like large multifamily looking types of buildings. They look like just like giant houses, essentially, right? And so you just end up having a bunch of these giant houses that have like a lot of amenities in them. I'll see if I can find you the see perhaps you can find him the overview of our development. Actually, you know what? I had if you go on my page, it's at Healthy Carts. You might be able to see it
Oh, what's the website?
on Instagram.
Oh, okay. What? You have your own Instagram where you're not supporting the company one?
So that's a whole separate marketing strategy. Oh, it's there's a lot. There's a lot going on here.
Oh, something I wanted to mention as well. It's on your website. For anyone listening, I will also post this on YouTube as well. But it was actually on your website that your suite mix is 3 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. Like nobody's building 3 bedroom suites. Oh, and they're two bath. They're all two bath.
Yeah.
How many two bedroom two baths are out there? Period.
Yeah.
Kartik,
So
what
it's
are what's
healthy.
that? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, HEL. Sorry.
Healthy. Yeah, that's me right there. The second one. No,
What?
you had me. Yeah, second one. Yeah, right there. There we go. And then go to
Maybe it's all over.
Clapperton. There you go. Thanks, buddy. Go to my highlights,
Yeah.
please. Not that one. That's me having fun, buddy. The wrong one. Clapperton. There's one on Clapperton.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, there you go. So that's okay. You see what I'm talking about? This is, yeah. So go back. Yeah. So this is kind of the master plan when we had 7 buildings. Since then, we've acquired 2 more, right? And that's what I mean is sort of the master plan of like these giant house looking things that are all kind of clustered right next to each other,
Right. Sorry, how
right?
big are these lots that you bought? These they were houses, right? And then how big were the
Yeah,
lots?
like 55 to 60 by 233 deep.
Oh, that's a deep lot.
Oh yeah. Oh
Uncommon.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, and we've kept the exteriors as very historic to kind of maintain the character. There's actually a really cool story about Clapperton Village and the name Clapperton. Um, Not to get into the weeds, but he was an explorer, from the fought in the War of 1812 and is a a Canadian hero. And we thought that it was it was relevant to pay homage to his legacy through our design. So the exteriors are very historic, but the interiors have like a juxtaposition of like being very modern, right? And so yeah, it gives it a really, really cool feel.
Who's the design guy between the you two? This is pretty nice.
Me. Well, we have our architects that we give our ideas to. We have really good team, like Jimmy was saying, but yeah, it's usually me that comes up with the crazy design ideas.
It'd be hard pressed to find a condo that looks this nice.
Absolutely. And the fact that we have, we're mostly net zero carbon, like we're more energy efficient than modern condos, like 90% GHG reduction than conventional condo is what I like to say.
I don't know how many people care about that, but that's a really nice bathroom.
People don't care about greenhouse gas reduction. I think a lot of people do.
Not when they see the when they see the bathroom they're gonna get. They'll forget all about greenhouse gases.
Exactly. Yeah. Pump those gases in. Yeah, I know. You're right.
Yeah,
And so we're actually,
that location is fantastic.
yeah, exactly. We're a 15-minute walk to the marina, the beach. There's 100 plus restaurants within a walking distance. There's a university campus actually coming very close to our developments right now. University of Lakehead or Lakehead University is opening a campus nearby. This is not catered towards students. This is a family-oriented product.
Right. They're
But
gonna
it's
put
just kind
pressure
of,
on the rental supply.
yeah,
They
they're going to
always
put
do.
exactly, which is going to drive up the prices of rent for families.
Right,
And exactly like you said, right? But yeah, it's really cool area of downtown Barrie. But downtown Barrie is absolutely beautiful for people that haven't been. There's a 5 kilometer walking trail. That's absolutely gorgeous. You know, you've got a great marina nearby,
the lakeside
Highway 400.
parks, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Highway 400 right there. And honestly, we got so lucky with this development, and that's why we're kind of doubling down.
Mhm.
Um, so obviously we struck gold mine when Lakehead University announced that they're putting a new campus right in downtown Barrie, and it's actually opening 2026 fall. So right, like perfect timing for when a lot of our product is coming online.
Right. And also, you'll
And
probably find a lot more people that want to sell.
exactly, exactly.
People,
And
landlords, wait till they meet the students.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And the second thing is that we wanted to there's a Highway 413 that just got announced as well, right? So I don't know if you heard about that, but Doug Ford's really trying to get Highway 413 going. And that's a very strategic and a very important play for Barrie. Have you seen it? Do you know what the Highway 413 looks like?
No, no, no. I don't know.
I would encourage you to look it up. It's basically
Right.
Doug Ford saying that the construction started for Highway 413.
Now I want to go back to how you said earlier how now is the time to develop. And I always think everyone needs to always understand like real estate's different everywhere. Like for your
Right.
project planning, like this is the timing I think will work out quite well for you. And also your suite style, your finishes, you're going to attract a high-end tenant again, and you're offering something that's not common. Two bathroom apartments, right? That's actually I don't even know where you can find one outside of a single family home in your area. So again, you're offering something that again, folks need to go back to business. You want to offer what's in short of supply and high in demand. You absolutely probably nailing the short on supply part, right? 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, and almost nobody builds condos for 3 bedroom anymore. So you're
No,
addressing an area of the market that there isn't supply for, and also doing low rise. A lot of people don't want to be in high rise, and you're going to be
absolutely.
and then like mentioned like the tenants in your area will be competing against the student rentals. That only puts pressure on rents. So so again, real estate is hyper local, hyper focused. I can understand why you believe the timing is right, along with the cheap financing.
Exactly. And if anybody wants to invest with us, just kidding.
Now's the time.
I posted. Hey, you'll like a story that I posted on my on Instagram, Urban.
Yeah,
Um,
shoot.
the check out the story. Actually, you'll get a good chuckle out of it. I'm
Is it
single, but
controversial?
yeah, it's controversial. I don't know. Is there sound? Play the sound, please.
I don't know if it'll come through. I can hear it.
Okay.
That's pretty
You
funny.
want to tell what the joke was?
I'll tell people just to go to healthy carts underscore. I'll include your Instagram in the show
It's
notes
it's it's all about creating shareholder value. That's funny.
at healthy carts uh, on Instagram. Now we're
Thank you.
running out of time, so I want to go talk about the conference. What else should people know about the conference?
I can go. So hey, it's gonna be it's a week away. It's a fully loaded day, jam packed with, like we mentioned earlier, all levels of government. CMHC is going to be there. The housing ministers are going to be there. Five mayors are going to be there. Our lovely Olivia Chow is going to be there, and investors, one third investors, one third of the room are going to be developers, one third of the room are going to be consultants. It's a chance where this has never been done before. It's about 250 to 300 people at a famous hotel, the Fairmont Royal York, during TIFF weekend, and it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be we're 90% sold out with tickets, right? So for the listeners here, we're gonna have a special discount code for all the listeners here. So Erwin, we're gonna send that to you later.
Oh, Dave sent
And
it to me. Let me read it out so we don't forget.
yeah,
MMC 15%.
Look
MMC
hey,
at that.
look at
MMC
that.
15%. So that's MMC 15 percentage sign. That is the
Yeah.
discount code for 100% off, right? No, I think it means
Fif-
15%. I think it means 15% off, right?
15% off. Hey, you show up, you're gonna be able to be you're gonna be in the right room as a developer, investor, or consultant. You're gonna be in there. You're gonna meet the right people. Everybody in there is intermediate to an advanced level type of developer. So you're gonna be rubbing shoulders with the right people to have the right contacts. And one new contact is gonna elevate your business in whatever role you are. Um, and it's a chance for it's not just another conference. It's a chance for all of us to align, innovate, and provide solutions to build more housing. And we'd love for everybody to be there. This is a chance to be in the room, to move the needle forward, because this is the right thing to do. It's exciting.
September 12th, all day at the Royal York.
Yeah, it's gonna the conference, it's gonna end at 5. It's jam packed. Our good friend Darren Boros is the moderator. He's a very successful missing middle developer in the Toronto Junction area, and it's until 5, and we have plenty of panels with the right people there. We have a VIP lunch where all the speakers are going to be in a special VIP room having lunch, and we're going to have a special announcement in that VIP lunch that's going to benefit the whole missing middle space. And last but not least, from 5 to 8, we're going to have that cocktail reception. So you should bring your dancing shoes, pack them, freshen up, because at 5 o'clock it's going to be a party as well. So
All at
so
the Royal York.
all at the Royal York, in one of the nicest rooms with the nicest people. And we're so excited to host this event, because we, deep down inside, we do feel that this is the right thing to do, which is add more units to the market so that people can have a space, a community to live in.
Well, I believe the federal housing minister agrees with you. All right.
Yes,
So
that's
one
right.
last time, the mmc.ca is where folks can find more information. They can buy tickets, and the discount code is discount code is MMC15 percentage sign. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Hey,
It's
thanks for inviting us to your show. It's always nice to go down shows and talk shop with very smart people, and spread the message, because we do really feel it's important to provide more housing, and to do it in a way where we do it together, because collaboration is the way to go. It's not competition, it's collaboration. So thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. I say like I am not a developer. I'm way too lazy. And I think everyone should be thanking developers because who else would do it? Who else is gonna put up their own time, money, and effort put their name on the line, put their credit on the line to build these houses, and so many people won't do it. So I think everyone should, again, and then for people who don't believe that adding supply works, just look where all the cheapest rates are, or where where the rents are falling in the states. It's all the folks
And
that
even Edmonton and Calgary, right?
Edmonton, exactly. Rents are falling in Edmonton because they're building so much. Oh, what do you know? More supply. Again, just basic economics. Who would have thunk? I can't wait for your conversation with the mayor and mayor of Burlington.
She's
But
the
again,
most energetic about having the conversation about missing middle, by the way. She's selling it to us so hard. Like you should see on our SDG Canada
I
page. She
love it.
actually did a video. She's like, this is the right time because like there's no more room for urban sprawl. Missing middle development is the way to go and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, she seems
Wow.
so pro
Maybe
development.
she's changed.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't care. I don't. I'm not. Listen, she's a very nice lady, and I'm excited to see her next week.
Yeah, yeah. And not to pick on her, like that's just because I used to live there and I follow what's going on in Burlington.
No, I don't.
But yeah, I get it. Like I get it. Like they're at the whim of their voters, and
Exactly,
maybe these are voters
exactly,
too. They deserve a vote.
exactly,
This
right?
is a democracy.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And renters are not there yet, right? They're gonna come in 2 years or 3 years, but they're not there yet, right? So
Right. And
it's
that's the story of
it's
Toronto. Who
yeah,
who gets the shortest part of the stick? The renters. That's why
yeah.
they stand up and they're loud about it. That where they're getting screwed. Hence, the city of Toronto has been probably the most progressive. Right.
Well, and also I think a lot of it has been the stick from the federal government, but the stick hasn't been, hard enough, right? You know what I mean? It's the carrot and the stick approach, right? I mean, how can you just a really last closing thoughts here? How can you have unemployment and a housing crisis at the same time is what I don't understand, right? Because if you have a housing crisis, then employ people to solve the housing crisis, right? Why does that exist, right? And it's because of the red tape. You can't have a 10% unemployment rate, highest since the Great Recession, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have a housing crisis at the same time. Like, guys, like
Mm-hmm.
just build, just build.
Yeah. And that's the challenge with politics, but that's democracy, and it's not a bad system. It could be worse. Gentlemen, thank you so much. The MMC.ca, SDG Canada. Thanks so much for doing this. Tell Dave I said hi, and he owes me a round of golf or something. All right. Good luck. Good luck on the 12th.
Thanks, Erwin. Love it.
Welcome. Thanks so much. All right, friends, that wraps up another episode of the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. Hope you got as much out of this one as I did. Remember that whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, there's always something new to learn, and it's always about building that practical knowledge base that gets you closer to financial freedom. If you found value today, please do us a favor and leave us a review or a rating, share this episode with a friend, or better yet, join our community of real estate investors who are taking action and making moves. And hey, if there's a topic you want us to cover, or there's a certain guest you'd like us to have on the show, drop me a line. My DMs are open on social media. Reply to this email that this has arrived on. I'm not hard to find. We're all about giving you the unfiltered truth to help you on your journey. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay smart, stay curious, and keep building that future. Catch you later.